Rather than lads, welcome back to Kossi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kossi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Gonna be diving into the latest around Arsenal and that special topic, transfers and Joao Felix. That's a big question. And that's a very, very big topic. Joao Felix to Arsenal. A couple of reports, a couple of rumors have been flying around in the last days, and I decided the first story I will react to when I come back is Joao Felix to Arsenal. Of course, we've done a video about Arsenal and Chelsea. Make sure you do check it out. I thought Arsenal were really, really good in that game. But how about Joao Felix? How do we feel? Talk to me in the comment section. Do you think Arsenal should sign Joao Felix? Is he a player that excites you? Is he a player that you feel gets can improve this Arsenal side? Does he have the quality? And on top of that, can he actually turn his career around under Mikel Arteta and probably under this Arsenal project that you feel at the moment can make any player turn around? If we did so with Granit Xhaka, probably any player coming to Arsenal, they can easily turn their careers around. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. Let's get this video to 300 likes. And the big question in the comment section, let's get the involvement, let's get the engagement. Are we really in position to sign Joao Felix? Now, the big question I asked on this one, first and foremost, is are Arsenal really interested? Is there some concrete interest from Arsenal in Joao Felix? And my answer here is yes. I think Arsenal are really interested in Joao Felix. It's not the first time that we have actually been linked with Joao Felix. You can trace back our interest a couple of months ago, especially this year. You look at Football in London writing that Arsenal have been given a huge boost to sign Atletico Madrid winger for £114 million. So the interest is there. And I think if Arsenal were given this kind of incentive where you could sign it for 80 million, maybe 70 million, probably 65 million, around that region, Arsenal would definitely take it. Look, he's absolutely quality. He's a very, very good player. And we've seen that Mikel Arteta loves players with that kind of versatility, players that do have that ability on the ball. Joao Felix is one of them. Can play on the left, can play on the right as well, and even down through the middle. Look, at times when you want to play that false nine role, at times when you want to play that kind of change system, players like Joao Felix in your squad actually give you a lot. We've always thought about Gabriel Martinelli playing down through the middle, but in my opinion, the more I've watched him, the more I've seen him, I don't think Gabriel Martinelli should be playing down through the middle. I think on the left, or maybe occasionally on the right, that is where Gabriel Martinelli should play. But Joao Felix, I've seen him for some time. He can play for you on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, and even down through the middle. So there is concrete interest in Arsenal in the player right through the summer, even this January transfer window as we approach it. There is interest from Arsenal in Joao Felix. Now, the big question here is why would Joao Felix want to leave Atletico Madrid in January, and why would Atletico Madrid as well want to sell Joao Felix in January? So the answer here is that very, very easy. There is kind of a fallout between Joao Felix and Diego Simeone. Now, of course, we know the character of Diego Simeone. I've not really had so many stories about him losing it with his players, but the lack of game time in recent games and Joao Felix starting on the bench has actually triggered a lot of emotions in the young player, and he feels he should be starting day in, day out for Atletico Madrid. So there is that kind of fallout. The player is somehow unhappy. Of course, Diego Simeone with Atletico Madrid is not going to go anywhere. It is not anytime soon that they will be parting ways with Diego Simeone. Now, I've really watched Atletico Madrid for some time this season. They don't really play very well. They have lost one of their last, actually, I think they've only won one of their last 3 games in all competitions. Have they even won a game? So they're not really actually doing very, very well. And my question is, why is Joao Felix not really starting for this team? Why is he failing to nail down to a starting position? You look at the likes of Morata and Antoine Griezmann. I don't feel anyone is fit to start ahead of Joao Felix. So the player is frustrated, and probably this could provide Arsenal with that kind of window to dive in and probably make situations very, very worse. The question, another question that I looked at here is, can Arsenal sign him in January? That is something to talk about as well. Look, 100 million in January, that is a lot of money. Now, we know the likes of Dusan Vlahovic have moved to clubs like Juventus for that much, but it's a transfer that rarely happens. It's a move that actually rarely happens. Arsenal splashing 100 million on Joao Felix in January is something that I really don't see happen very, very soon. And if it happened, I would be more than amazed. I would be more than surprised, because look, although Edu, Mikel Arteta, and the Cronkies are focused on winning the Premier League at this point in time, they will do whatever it takes to make sure that Arsenal gets over the line. And what a start, what a symbol it would be for Arsenal to invest almost hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds in a squad and then win the Premier League right away. That would be a very, very good place to start. But 100 million in January on one player is unwise business from Arsenal. First and foremost, you want someone to back up Thomas Partey in that area of the pitch. We've talked about Danilo, we've talked about the likes of Douglas Luiz, and probably January is a time for us to negotiate these deals, starting actually in November, December, until January. We have some time to negotiate these deals. So instead of splashing 100 million on one player, in my opinion, Arsenal should go and buy around 3. Get a winger, get another striker to back up Gabriel Jesus, and then also bring in a midfielder. So the move in January is unlikely. Yes, Atletico Madrid have actually dropped out of the UEFA Champions League, and that could be some kind of incentive for the player to move on, and also Atletico Madrid to sell, because they're no longer in the biggest tournament in Europe. But I'm not yet convinced. I'm actually not yet convinced that he can actually sell him in January. So moving on to what I thought next is how many clubs are interested, and do Arsenal really stand a chance? Yes, Atletico Madrid do want 100 million pounds, and that could that price tag only could actually chase away a couple of clubs that would have wanted him but don't have that financial muscle and strength. So the big question here is, how many clubs want him, and can Arsenal withstand the competition? Number one is Manchester United. Now, I've looked at a couple of stories. Erik ten Hag wants another forward. Erik ten Hag wants someone to play on the left or even down through the middle. Cristiano Ronaldo is not actually doing it for them. And down through the left side, Marcus Rashford is not a player that is actually, occupying that space anymore. He's predominantly playing through the middle. Jadon Sancho, so far, not so good. So I think United would actually be a better place for Joao Felix, given the fact that they have the money to splash and spend, aimlessly. I would honestly call that aimlessly. But also, in terms of attracting Joao Felix, I think United would be the better destination. Liverpool also and Manchester City are the other clubs that would actually want to sign him, including PSG as well. So look, all the clubs that I'm looking at here, I think Arsenal can massively compete with them. Apart from maybe PSG, because PSG are still in the UEFA Champions League and they have a lot of money. Liverpool are not actually a scare because they don't have that huge amount of money to spend. That much we know. And then the likes of Manchester City, are they going to splash 100 million in January? Probably because they're scared Arsenal could run away with the title. That could be the reason. But I think in terms of competition, clubs are there, but Arsenal can actually compete with them. Now that takes us to the huge question in this video, and that is, does he have the quality? Is he worth the trouble? Because signing a player like Joao Felix, it is a lot of trouble. Honestly, it is a lot of trouble. First and foremost here, you can see from football.london, it is 114 million pounds. That is what you're looking at in terms of signing Joao Felix from Spain to the Premier League. 114 million pounds. And then the other question is beating the competition, sign-on fees, working within that period of time, and then sacrificing Arsenal getting in a midfielder just to sign one player, and that is Joao Felix. Is he worth the trouble? Does he have the quality? Now, I'm going to be biased on this one because if you watched my channel, you know, there are few players I like, and there are very many players that I really don't like in this world of football. But with Joao Felix, him, I like a lot. He's one of those players that I look at and I'm like, if he can get to unleash his potential, if he can get a side, if he can get a team where he can actually breathe some bit of fresh air, he's going to be a remarkable striker. At Atletico Madrid, yes, I think Diego Simeone is one hell of a manager, but the system actually doesn't favor him. Diego Simeone loves to play that kind of counter-attacking football, sit back and then run. I think Joao Felix is better than that. He wants to be on the ball. He wants to be, dictating events in the final third, and he would also want to play with a team that is more on the ball all the time rather than more of the ball. And that's where I think Atletico Madrid got it wrong. They signed the right player, but for the wrong manager and the wrong system. So that's why I would say, for me, he's worth the trouble. If Arsenal have 100 million and they're sure that Stan Kroenke can give us that money, no problems, no huge worries. I would definitely take Joao Felix at Arsenal. He's talented. He's absolutely talented. Maybe I've seen a few Arsenal fans talk about the physical part of his game. He's weak, small, and all that. But when you look at the likes of Gabriel Martinelli and Saka, it just justifies that probably you don't need to be very strong. You don't need to be very huge to be a success. Otherwise, the likes of Adama Traore would have been the biggest successes in Premier League football right now. What you need is that ability on the ball, that intelligence on the ball. You must be quick in terms of thinking. You must have the quick feet. And also, you must be clinical as well as a forward. Those are the qualities that you need in the position. And for me, Joao Felix absolutely has them all. So finally, should Arsenal sign Joao Felix or look at other cheaper options? And that is where we've got to, probably do some kind of contradiction. Now, I love Joao Felix, and I think he's worth the trouble, but is it better to go for a Mikhailo Modric? Is it better to go for a Facundo Torres? Is it better to go for a Wilfred Zaha? Because it is, economically, it makes a lot of sense economically. That is number one. And then also, apart from that, it just makes sense. Even if it's not the economic terms, it only makes sense for you to go and sign a player for 60 million and then turn them into a 100 or 120 million player, rather than signing a 100 million player thinking they will become a 200 million player. So for me, I would say still Cody Gakpo and Mikhailo Modric are the two options Arsenal should be focusing on in January. Both deals are very, very doable. Now, PSV Eindhoven have progressed to the round of 32 in the Europa League. That actually could change their mind in terms of whether they want to sell or not. I'm not really bothered. I'm not really scared of them not wanting to sell or wanting to sell. And then the other player is Mikhailo Modric. Now, Shakhtar Donetsk were knocked out of the UEFA Champions League as well. So that is another huge opportunity. Remember I said the problem with Mikhailo Modric and the deal is if they stay in the UEFA Champions League, you can't do the deal in January. But now that they have been kicked out of the UEFA Champions League, you can easily do the deal. You can splash some money, maybe 50 million, maybe 55 million on the table of Shakhtar Donetsk, and they will get the money. So finally, I want to ask this question. Signing Joao Felix, could it be an obstruction to the success and development of Gabriel Martinelli and Saka? And that is the reason why I think Arsenal will not sign Joao Felix at the end of the day. You look at how Martinelli has actually done. You look at how Saka has actually behaved in the first part of the season. Yes, there are a few fluctuations that can happen, especially when players take a break and things like that. Hopefully, it doesn't really affect Arsenal and our form. But if it does, that is where we would need a player like Joao Felix, a player that has the ability to step up and perform at a very, very, very high level. But I think Arsenal will not sign him, given the fact that we have Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka. Mikel will be thinking, instead of splashing a lot of money on an upcoming talent, on a player who needs to prove himself, why not invest more time on Martinelli, Saka, and try to see that they can actually work out and make their careers a success. So that is all you need to know about Joao Felix. Interest is there. There is some kind of unhappy situations and some unhappy scenarios between him and Diego Simeone. But a deal in January is still highly unlikely. It should happen in the summer, and it's gonna come not without competition, but with a lot of competition. So I'll speak to you in the next one. We'll talk about Facundo Torres. We'll talk about a few other players that have been linked with Arsenal, and we'll be detailing all the accounts. I'll see you very, very soon.